Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Well, Tim, we have fairly quiet skies overhead
Oh,
here
the timeout, man. Timeout.
What?
Let's let the folks know you're back. Welcome back, Ross.
I was only gone one day.
No, they missed you, man. It was a topic. It was a topic of discussion. So welcome back. They heard that you were going way up north to Waycross.
I was, yes.
And but so it sounds like you had some pretty good conversations with those folks up there. And of course, folks, if you weren't here yesterday, Ross went up there because Helene went up to Waycross last year. So have some good conversations?
Yeah, we spoke with the mayor of Waycross. We spoke with the city manager of Waycross. Got some great information from them with some of the issues they had with regards to Hurricane Helene last year, and some kind of solutions that they're trying to get funding behind to try to fix some of those problems that continue to recur. But they all said that Helene was the worst storm they had ever experienced in Waycross. And then we spoke with a couple other residents as well. And all of them, it was our resounding, that was the worst storm they've ever experienced. And that was from lifetime residents of Waycross.
Yeah, that's because we can look at the numbers and we can see that, but to hear it from them, that's pretty significant. But we will be able to hear you, right? I heard that there were maybe some technical difficulties, but some people were going to help you with your microphone, and that's working. That worked fine.
Yes, we got all of that ironed out, thankfully. Good. Yes.
So welcome back.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, that kind of leads me in, I guess, to what I was kind of getting to, is that it's dry overhead of us here in Jacksonville, but for some of those folks that I spoke to in Waycross yesterday, that's kind of the area we're going to be looking at to maybe see some, at least, rain development, if not some isolated thunderstorm development for the time being. Based off of the visible satellite, you got a cumulus field continuing to just kind of bubble up out there, but not a whole lot of vertical development, at least for the time being, as that sea breeze continues to make its way inland and west now of I-95. So it's passed through downtown, but nothing currently popping up on radar, at least for the time being out there.
Yeah, it's all pretty much just a little far, just above that screen, right?
Yeah.
Further up toward Augusta and those spots.
Yeah, so this was just a quick shot of Waycross, and that pretty much just tells the story of what I was saying. You have some cumulus clouds bubbling there, but nothing really towering.
But that is a different look than our sky, isn't it? I mean, as far as down in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It does look like a little more vertical. There it is. So we've seen off and on now for a couple hours some severe thunderstorms from Charleston to the Savannah River Valley. And I know there's been some discussions and even some computer models indicating that eventually it might produce an outflow boundary heading to the south. And maybe we're seeing that because you can see the motion is to the east and northeast, but it almost looks like it's building more to the south and southwest, which maybe means there is a north wind blowing out of some of those storms.
Yeah, becoming a slightly more outflow dominant there.
Yeah.
So we'll watch and see if that perhaps, the outflow boundary connects with the sea breeze down toward us, maybe enhancing our thunderstorm risk later on here in the afternoon and evening. But for the time being, nothing out there right now, just kind of another warm day. You got 88 from my friends up there in Waycross, but 84 in Jacks, Mayport as well. So pretty similar to what we've seen here the last couple of days, Tim. But that is right where the sea breeze is continuing to
notice where it's calm, and you see the Gulf Coast sea breeze coming in. So I agree, it's not going to be strong, but there could be so you could be that outflow boundaries coming out of the north, and at least, even though it's weak, maybe a sea breeze convergence maybe near or just to the west of Waycross in a couple of hours.
So something to keep a watchful eye on here over the next couple of hours. This is kind of what the computer models are showing, and it actually is starting to pick up on that maybe just a little bit. So up in northern Ware County, Pierce County, just a few isolated things here later on this evening, 7:30, 8 o'clock. But for all of the folks watching who live in and around the Jacksonville metro area, you've pretty much got nothing to worry about here for the rest of this evening. Clear skies, dry skies, so good baseball weather for the Jumbo Shrimp.
Good baseball weather, no threat there. They're playing ball, nice breeze blowing in toward home plate. I agree, pretty nice. But, man, we could use the rain.
We could.
You have been updating this and with all kind of numbers, and it all supports the fact that really dry.
Yeah, I mean, today is April 23rd.
Yeah.
And we've only had 3 days of actual measurable rainfall. I think we had 1 or 2 days and maybe a trace of rain. But of those 3 days, it only amounted to just over an inch. And this is specifically for the Jacksonville International Airport. That's where we get all of the city of Jacksonville's weather data from. But we're now well over an inch below average for the month. And really, it's not just this April.
There it is.
You take
Wow.
it back, even into March, Tim. Yeah, I mean, we haven't received days in the last 12 days right now, but over the last 44 days, we've only gotten just over an inch and a half. So the watering cans have been put to good use and have gotten some hard work out of them here the last month and a half.
Yeah, I was gardening this morning, and of course I'm out toward the beach, and that soil now is way more dry sand than anything else. It's just begging for. Well, I say the soil, the plants that are looking for some moisture in there. So no doubt about it.
Well, and even
we could use it.
the ditch kind of up by where I live, and we talk about this a lot. I mentioned it last week that there's typically at least some level of water in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, since I've been here, I've only maybe seen it completely dry once, and it is completely dry. Even the mud that is left in it is starting to dry up. So that just kind of goes to show how dry things are really, at least at the surface level.
Which of course also is why those who deal with wildfires are becoming increasingly anxious up here.
Yes. Yeah. So no luck with any rain. Giving your plants a little bit of a thirst quencher or anything like that. Dry skies here the rest of the night. Temperature-wise, we're still staying fairly mild and above average for this time of the year when we talk about low temperatures, Tim. We should be in the upper 50s. Meanwhile, a lot of us are still going to wake up tomorrow morning in the mid-60s, perhaps even the upper 60s, close to
Even
70 for you out there at the beach. I mean, pretty warm, humid air here for this time of the year.
Yeah, we've done several pre-dawn runs with temperatures nothing lower than 70. We're just running in singlets, so it does feel more like June out there. Water temperatures warming up because of that now. Surf temperatures up to 74, river temperatures up to 78 degrees. I suspect the river's going to make it to 80 before the end of the month, and that is that's more like modern times, but certainly a lot earlier than we used to see the river temperature make it up to 80 degrees.
Now, do you remember what that when we hit 80 for the river last year?
I do not.
Okay.
But I can tell you as a general rule, we used to think of Memorial Weekend, so going into finishing up May, is when the river would make it to 80, especially from like the Buckman South, and then the surf temperature would be kind of approaching 80. So at least as far as the river, that's about a month earlier than let's say 20 years ago.
Okay, so things are heating up a little bit quicker than they used to, essentially.
Now I think the anglers like it. I think it brings stuff from the southern part of the river farther off to the north, and I think even in the surf makes for some better fishing. But as we know, it also means energy out there in the ocean.
Yes.
As we get closer to hurricane season, but nothing now. Things are nice and quiet night right now.
Yeah, not only for...
Oh, there you go.
Oh, look at that.
Nice shot.
That's where you're wishing you were at right now.
Oh, I got in this morning, so I'm glad to spend some time with you. Try to figure out.
Is the water still pretty clear?
We got
or because we had the onshore flow, maybe.
Yeah, well, and we talked about this before. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but as long as the winds aren't strong, the clearest water for us is if it is out of the northeast or east or southeast. As long as it's not strong, the visibility really drops when we start getting. Day in and day out, a southeast sea breeze in the afternoon, and then a south to southwest land breeze late at night and early in the morning, and it gets that current right along the beach going and turning it up. So right now, although there's not much surf, there's a very strong current running south to north, and at least within 100 yards of the beach, that really drops the visibility.
Turns
For
it up
instance,
a good
today I did some research, and when I first hopped in there, couldn't see past my elbow. Now, once it got 100 yards farther out, then clear water. But yeah, as long as we have this, southeast sea breeze and then southerly wind overnight, which we're probably going to keep at least through Saturday, pretty churned up, at least near shore.
And even then into early next week, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Like Sunday, Monday, you have the wind direction change. Expecting that to still be
No,
churned up
and that's where it seems counterintuitive. But once that wind comes out of the northeast, even if we get about 12 to 15 knots, it won't be Caribbean clear.
Yeah.
But it'll certainly it'll go from can't see a foot to like probably 6 to 7 foot because
Okay.
it'll bring in some of that deeper, clear water.
Okay, so it'll improve a little bit. Something
Yeah.
to be optimistic about and
Yes,
look forward
there
to.
you go. There you go.
Well, so Andy had popped it up there for you. Looking ahead to tomorrow's forecast, very similar to what we're experiencing here today. 84 degrees as your high, specifically for Jacksonville. We will still look for an isolated shower, if not thunderstorm, primarily across the inland locations yet again. So that onshore kind of southeast to easterly sea breeze will continue throughout tomorrow afternoon and evening. So, really thinking kind of an I-10 northward into, southeast Georgia. It does look like some models are maybe showing some sort of kind of thunderstorm complex trying to develop maybe in Alabama and then moving into central Georgia. Whether that actually comes to fruition and drops down toward us is yet to be seen. But I think maybe the key thing, yes, exactly, for a
Here
lot
we
of folks,
go.
shouldn't have to worry about
At the
anything for the
beach.
draft party tomorrow.
This is the first time at the beach with the Jags draft. We're all curious to see how all that works out.
Over at Lemon Bar.
Yeah, over at the Lemon Bar, and which of course is technically Neptune Beach, right there with Jackson Neptune Beach. So I mean, looks like it's going to be a great evening out there. A nice breeze will blow. So whenever they do come to Jacksonville, people will be in their, I suspect, Jag shorts and gear, and it's gonna look good. And I think people are allowed to they're hydrating by 11 in the morning, so people should be pretty juiced up by it.
Yeah, I mean, the event starts at 6, but the door opens at 11. So remember, just alternate, try to mix some water in with that as well.
But let's do talk football because for those of you who don't know, yes, I am a major Jags fan, but I don't get into the X's and O's. But Ross, that's a very different story. He could easily be on Chris's sports team. So seriously, I know you're an Eagles fan, but you support the Jags when they're not playing the Eagles.
Yeah.
So who are you hoping that they grab?
So I know a lot of the mock drafts have the Jags facing Mason Graham out of Michigan, our one producer, Tegan. She's a big Blue fan, so she would be ecstatic about that. Although I do think that is, a position need for the Jags. I think Liam Cohen and, the new general manager might be looking to make a little bit of a splash. Liam Cohen's big offensive-minded head coach. So I would not be surprised if Ashton Genty out of Boise State, the running back, goes number 5 to the Jags.
Oh, wow.
I think they might want to just set the stage as this is what we want to aspire to. I mean, you look last year specifically to the Eagles. Saquon Barkley kind of reset the running back market a little bit. And it might have some of the head coaches and specifically the general managers who are making these decisions in the draft process. Maybe they're putting a little bit more value on some of those running backs because over the last 10 to 15 years, some of the top running back prospects have kind of shifted down the board a little bit, late first round into the second round. But I think, how Saquon performed last year.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I could certainly see that. And now you're primarily hearing my wife in my brain because she could have a great X and O's discussion with you. For almost as long as we've had season tickets, almost. Not back in the Baselli days, but and this is where I'm going toward. If my wife starts to yell expletive words, it's not toward anybody personal, but it's been very often critical of our O-line. Yeah. So I guess what I'm thinking is, the Eagles did go spend for that running back, and it definitely paid off. But didn't you guys already have like a massively talented O-line?
Yeah.
I mean, do we have that yet? I don't.
No, I mean,
No.
Kelvin Banks.
So do you do that first?
Yeah, I mean, he's a tackle. Kelvin Banks, tackle out of Texas. I think could be a very, very good choice there. I'm not sure if the top offensive linemen are. You might be reaching a little bit.
To do that early?
Yeah, to take him a 5. So that could be another option for the Jags. You trade back a few spots because I think to take someone 5th overall, you got to be in love with that guy.
Yeah.
So that, and they are kind of sitting in that sweet spot a little bit that, if they don't have someone that they're completely in love with at 5, trade back a few spots into the draft, acquire more draft picks because they certainly need it and can kind of try to improve their team in that way. Because let's be honest, Cam Ward's going number 1 to the Titans. Travis Hunter's probably going number 2 to the Cleveland Browns. Abdul Carter, my Penn State guys, more than likely going to the New York Giants at 3, or Shedeur Sanders might be going 3 to the Giants.
But that was going to be my next question. Suppose there is a surprise in the first 4. What would cause you to giggle with glee if there was a surprise and we get to grab somebody to get your guy Carter?
For the Jags to take him?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if the Jags are able to move up, that would be, I think if the Jags are able to move up and get either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, I think Duval Nation and the Jags fan base here would be absolutely ecstatic. I don't think the Browns will trade back, but we've seen, off Hard Knocks with the New York Giants, they haven't been run the greatest over the past maybe 3, 4, 5 years. So maybe they can jump up a spot with the Giants and take who they want if the Giants aren't in love with one of those guys. That could be a big, big surprise if the Jags are able to kind of move up and select someone like Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. I think that would be a big, big steal in the draft.
Okay.
So I have to wait and see. But
yes,
key is that it's going to be a good night for Jags fans out there at Lemon
nice
Bar.
breeze, yeah.
So
the next big question is the front.
Yes.
It does look, I would say, since the last time we talked together, which was Monday, that we're a little more confident that the front will in fact push through our area, right?
Yes, if you get so far ahead.
Sorry,
Tim.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to get through the end of the week here.
Sorry, it's taking us to the next.
We got Friday, we got Saturday. Clearly, not a whole lot notable there, at least.
No, but
end the week.
You're right. We shouldn't rush it too much.
Here we go.
But we should talk about the jumbo shrimp then, I guess, because what is quiet weather is great news for the jumbo shrimp, and so they're playing in the evening tonight. Thursday and Friday, right?
And Saturday.
Saturday
first pitch is at 6:35. So
okay. And all those games to me look good, right? They're playing ball.
Yeah, I don't expect any rain delays or anything like that. So good news for the jumbo shrimp fans. Sunday, I'm not sure because I do think they play Sunday. I'm not sure what time that game is. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, because that could be iffy.
Looks like though the weekend is going to be warmer than the week has been. In the end, yes, Sunday afternoon will be completely dependent upon when that front comes in and how that front interacts with the daytime heating of the day here, right,
yeah,
Tim?
I think we both agree that at least initially, it's a strong front that is just now, it's going to not even make it to Chicago until tomorrow. It's a strong front, but then the big push is well off to our north, right? So it's going to be weak by the time it gets here. And so it looks like at least initially for the convection to form at the front, it's going to have some help. That is some moisture, and that is maybe a little sea breeze interaction as the front drops down.
So let's talk about it a little bit for anyone who has outdoor plans then on Sunday. If you're going to the beach, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
You're not too concerned about rain chances out there at the beach. Timing-wise, though, let's say for the rest of the Jacksonville metro area, if you live on the west side perhaps, and you got outdoor plans Sunday, what are you thinking timing-wise there for folks?
Yeah, so the farther north you are, the earlier the shower forming, but then probably the lower the chances because you need the heat, right?
Yeah.
So the farther to the south you are, the later it'll form. But then if it gets too late, especially if you're east of I-95, the sea breeze has probably come in. And so that might inhibit development. There it is. There's a front dropper in the southwest. So I would say as far as who has the best chance of needed rain might be places like Orange Park, Oakleaf, getting down toward Middleburg maybe.
Yep, Clay County.
But it really depends what ton of rain. Speaking of Sunday, if you just want to go indoors, Flagler College is having their kickoff to Science Week, which goes through Wednesday. And I'm bringing this up because
they have a celebrity coming.
Well, I don't know about that, but they have invited me down there to talk. It's open to the public. It's at Flagler College. It's 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, 4 to 5. What I am looking forward to is the fact they're going to have students, instead of me giving some kind of speech, they're going to have students ask me questions. So at least we'll be talking about what the students want to talk about. And the title that they've asked me to focus on is Forecasting, Communicating in a Changing World. Now, if you think about those words, that does lead to a lot of different topics. So if any, of course, students are invited, but even anybody outside Flagler College, you're welcome to come on down and
Well, I think that perfectly describes what we're doing here too. Communicating in a changing world. We used to streaming has really just become a thing in the last year or so. Mm-hmm. And we kind of talk about the forecast here a little bit differently than we obviously do on air. So this is really just a prime example of that.
Yeah, it is. And I'm excited because kind of like this, we can actually talk through some things.
Yeah.
As opposed to, for those who don't know, we have these things in our ears called IFBs. And typically, because both of us have a lot to talk about, a lot of important stuff to talk about, we start hearing 15 seconds, 5 seconds, shut up.
1 minute.
There he is.
Well, since we have 1 minute, why don't we pop up the 7-day quick?
Oh, do.
Give you a look there at the weekend and the week ahead next week.
So this takes us through the end of April.
It does, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Brings that front in again on Sunday, still kind of lingering around on Monday, so it looks like Sunday, Monday will be our best chances for rain, at least around the metro area itself, and a little bit of a cool down thanks to that northeast breeze and some of those rain showers, but then it looks like we kind of dry out and warm right back up then by the middle part of next week, Tim.
Yeah, so
just in time for May.
Yeah, so just in time for that. So for those who want the milder temperatures, at least we'll get that northeast breeze in Monday and Tuesday. And notice the rain is iffy because although we're showing those as the highest numbers, we're still not showing the raindrops. So maybe we can bump that up over the next couple of days. We'll see.
All right, until then, Duval, enjoy the draft.
Duval.
Take care, guys.